Welcome back. We are still on the third law and James Clear's best-selling book, Atomic Habits. This third law, all about making it easy, has some really awesome tips. And the next one is the law of least effort. He says human behavior follows the law of least effort. We will naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. And it's simply because we're human, right? Well, let's move on. Look at any behavior, he says, that fills up much of your life, and you'll see that it can be performed with very low levels of motivation. Habits like scrolling on our phones, checking email, and watching television steal so much of our time because they can be performed almost without effort. They are remarkably convenient. In a sense, every habit is just an obstacle to getting what you really want. Think about that. Motivation is motive and action, but it's not enough. He says conventional wisdom holds that motivation is key to the habit change. Interesting. So, what is your motive? What is your reason to take action? Well, he says conventional wisdom holds that motivation is the key to habit change. Maybe if you really wanted it, you'd actually do it. But the truth is, our real motivation is to be lazy and do what is convenient. And despite what the latest productivity bestseller will tell you, this is a smart strategy, not a dumb one. Energy is precious, and the brain is wired to conserve it whenever possible. It is human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states that when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. We just got a physics lesson there, right? Certainly, you are capable of doing very hard things. The problem, he says, is that some days you feel like doing the hard work, and some days you feel like giving in. On the tough days, it's crucial to have as many things working in your favor as possible so that you can overcome the challenges life naturally throws your way. The less friction you face, the easier it is for your stronger self to emerge. I'm going to say that again. The less friction you face, the easier it is for your stronger self to emerge. The idea behind make it easy is not to only do easy things. The idea is to make it as easy as possible in the moment to do things that pay off in the long run. But how do we do this? I mean, we all want to build our empire. We all want to succeed. We all want to grow as human beings. And we get a little tired, don't we? Well, he says, one of the most effective ways to reduce the friction associated with your habits is to practice environment design. And we touched base on that in the previous chapter, which I'll link in the show notes. He says, for example, when deciding where to practice a new habit, it is best to choose a place that is already along the path of your daily routine. Habits are easier to build when they fit into the flow of your life. Perhaps even more effective is reducing the friction within your home or office. Too often, we try to start habits in high friction environments, right? If you're starting a new diet, plan to eat at home. Don't be tempted. Don't put yourself in there because that's the path of least resistance. I'll just have one piece of cheesecake tonight. Well, do you have cheesecake at home? No? Stay home. Focus on yourself. Focus on the person that you're becoming, not who you were. Change is good. I love it. I love it. This is golden. Remove the points of friction that hold you back. Just remove those points of friction. Do not buy the cheesecake, right? When we remove the points of friction that sap our time and energy, we can achieve more with less effort. Ooh, that's golden. This is one reason tidying up can feel so good. We are simultaneously moving forward and lightening the cognitive load our environment places on us. Yes, beauty. Surround yourself with beauty. If you look at the most habit forming products, you'll notice that one of the things these goods and services do best is remove little bits of friction from your life. And he gives quite a few good examples, but here's one we can all relate to. Text messaging reduces the friction of sending a letter in the mail. And I'm going to say also picking up the phone and having a conversation, which is unfortunate, but sometimes you just want to get your point across, right? The central idea, he says, is to create an environment where doing the right thing is as easy as possible. Much of the battle of building better habits comes down to finding ways to reduce the friction associated with our good habits and increase the friction associated with our bad ones. Aha, so you can use this to get rid of that bad habit you've been meaning to do so. There are many ways to prime your environment so it's ready for immediate use. The whole environment, where you live, what you do, is somewhat in your control. And I know you probably live with other people and you can't control them. So focus on what you can control for you. If I'm going to use the diet because that's an easy one, and he gives a few examples in the book here. If you really want to eat healthier, do not buy the cheesecake, do not buy the chips. Chop up a whole bunch of vegetables, some fresh fruit. Prepare. Maybe Sunday's your preparation day. I always have a dinner plan before I start my workday because I don't want to end work and feel lazy and, let me just get a frozen pizza or something. No. If you plan ahead, if you have that environment, if you stock your fridge, these are little wins every day. And you're like, wow, I actually really enjoyed having one tiny orange as my sugary snack versus that chocolate bar that used to be in its place. Environment matters so much. The opposite of this, he says, you can invert the principle and prime the environment to make bad behaviors difficult. He goes to the extreme here. Let's use his phone as an example. Whenever possible, he says, I leave my phone in a different room until lunch. When it's right next to me, I'll check it all morning for no reason at all. But when it's in another room, I rarely think about it. And the friction is high enough that I won't go get it without a reason. As a result, I get 3 to 4 hours each morning when I can work without interruption. And I'm hearing this more and more from people. They're leaving the messages on their voicemail. I return calls between 2 to 4 p.m. every day, for example. Or for my instance, depending on what's going on, I may need that phone by me. But do I need the ringer on? Probably not. Little ideas, little steps, build your empire, increase your productivity. That email that you've been waiting for, if it's time sensitive, I get it. But control your devices. Do not let your devices control you. What are they called? Weapons of mass distraction. Yeah, mass distraction. Who's pushing your buttons, right? He says for many of us, a little bit of friction can be the difference between sticking with a good habit or sliding into a bad one. Imagine the cumulative impact of making dozens of these changes and living in an environment designed to make the good behaviors easier and the bad behaviors harder. Don't buy the chips, right? Whether we are approaching behavior change as an individual, a parent, a coach, or a leader, we should ask ourselves the same question. How can we design a world where it's easy to do what's right? Redesign your life so the actions that matter most are also the actions that are easier to do. Prime your environment. And I spoke briefly about this in a previous episode on the environment design. If your kitchen table also has to be the homework table, which also has to be the dinner table, which also has to be the project table, just change that one table to meet your needs. It's okay to work in the kitchen. It's okay to do homework at the kitchen table. It's okay. We all don't have special rooms for just meditation. If the only place that you can find quiet time to have a little morning chat with yourself, set your intention, your ideas, and your goals, do it before you get out of bed. Keep your eyes closed. Nobody will know. That is not only your sleeping environment, now it's where you meditate. Now that's where you brainstorm. Now that's where you relax. That's where you read. You don't need a huge, huge house, big apartment, whatever, a special place. You need your own environment to work for you. Less friction than having to, oh, I have to go to the library now because I can't think at home. Whatever works for you, make it work. Well, if you like the show, share it with somebody you know. And hey, hit that subscribe button. We are on the third law right now. And next episode is how to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. How to stop procrastinating. I'll see you then.